Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me today for this pop-up class. This is the first of a series that I'm introducing for the month of March, all focused on how we can use yoga to improve our wellness. And so obviously I focus on yoga for core strength and improving the core, but the core is related to so many aspects of wellness in our body. And so, what I'd like to do throughout this series is to target one of these areas each week. Now, today I'm coming on Friday because for almost all of last year, we had our Friday yoga classes. However, I heard from so many of you that Friday mornings just aren't the best time, right? So many of you work, many of you have other things and responsibilities at that time. So we're going to try a new time for this series moving forward, and that's going to be Wednesday night. So Wednesday around 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we'll see how that time works for you. Today's class is going to be focused on using yoga for core strength to improve our posture. And posture is one of the key elements that your core controls, right? A lot of times we don't think of the role our core plays in posture. However, if you don't have a strong core, you can't support your upper body. So what happens when we don't have a strong core to keep this area of our body supported, we slouch over because it's just easier to do this. If you ever walk around with your shoulders back, trying to work on your posture, you might notice that it gets kind of tiring. It's because you're working your core muscles when we're working to improve our posture. So today's class is going to focus on stretching and opening the shoulders and chest, and of course, working those core muscles. Each of these classes is going to be no more than 20 to 30 minutes. So find a comfortable spot on the floor or your mat and join me. Come to a seated position. Root in through your sit bones. Roll your shoulders back. So have a slight lift in the chest. Roll the shoulders back. You have a nice straight spine here. Sometimes it's just a matter of a half an inch to get that nice straight spine. And keeping the shoulders back, notice how your core is engaging right here in the seated position. Open your palms to the sky, lower or close your eyes. Take a deep inhale and exhale. And just ground down for a moment, letting go of anything that you're carrying with you today, anything that's been bothering you throughout the week. Just try to bring your awareness to this present moment. Take a deep inhale and exhale. And then keeping that spine nice and straight, bring your left hand to the mat beside you, fingertips grazing the ground, and then reach your right arm up to the sky, bringing your right bicep towards your right cheekbone. Keeping that nice straight spine, opening the chest, opening the shoulders, finding a gentle twist, and then release. Let's take it to the other side. Right fingertips come down, reach your left arm up, and release down. Walk your hands forward and come to tabletop position. Spread your fingertips wide. Plant your wrists underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. Inhale, drop the belly down, look up slightly. Exhale, tuck the chin and round the back. Inhale, drop the belly down, creating a little bit of a back bend here. Exhale, tuck and round. Continue in cat-cow here for a moment, just working to wake up the spine. And then come to pause and tabletop. Extend your left leg behind you so that just your toes graze the mat. And you can keep your hands down underneath your shoulders or extend your right arm forward. Start to float your left leg up so that your toes come in line with your hips. Hold here in spinal balancing pose. Engage the core and pelvic floor. And then release. And let's pause here in tabletop just to make sure that you can feel that core engagement. From tabletop here, you take a deep inhale, and then on the exhale, you'll notice a natural tightening of the belly. So your belly button comes naturally towards your spine. That's what we want to go for. Once you have that core engagement, you can pull up on the pelvic floor as if you're doing a Kegel exercise. And it's pretty, at first, it can be pretty difficult to know or keep this engagement, but just keep trying. It'll come. Extend your right leg back, right toes touching the mat, and reach your left arm forward this time. You can also keep both hands on the mat. Wherever you are, float that right leg for a moment, and then release. Push back to downward facing dog, lifting your hips up to the sky. Now your knees can be bent quite a bit for down dog. We're just walking it out for a moment. And then walk your feet towards your hands and come to ragdoll. In ragdoll, you bend your knees slightly, grab for opposite elbows, and you can rock side to side or just hang out in Uttanasana, forward fold. Take a deep inhale and exhale. Roll all the way up. Come to mountain pose, standing pose, with your feet underneath your hips, shoulders rolled back, palms to the sky. Inhale, reach your arms up. And on the exhale, we're going to bring our arms down and bend our legs so that we're squatting down until our fingertips graze our ankles, or somewhere around there. Inhale, rise back up, straighten the legs. Exhale, come all the way down and just tap the fingers to the ground. Inhale, rise up. Bring your hands to prayer and heart center. Step your left leg back, keep your right foot forward, and come into crescent lunge. You're lunging into our right leg. The left leg is reaching out behind you. Keep your hands in prayer or inhale and reach the arms behind you, interlacing all 10 fingers, rolling the shoulders back, opening up the chest, opening up the shoulders. And release. Step your left foot forward and then step your right foot back, coming into crescent lunge on the other side. You have a beautiful stretch in the hip flexor here, but if it's too much, you can always bend that back knee. Reach your arms out and behind you. Interlace all 10 fingers, roll the shoulders out. Breathe here. Beautiful chest opener. And then release. Step your right foot back. Inhale, arms to the sky, and exhale, fold all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift. Bring your fingers to your shins, bend your knees slightly, and then exhale, hands to the mat. Walk your feet back. Pause here in high plank just for a moment, and then drop the knees down. Bring your big toes to touch, knees the width of the mat, and sink down into child's pose. Take a deep inhale and exhale. Child's pose is a beautiful shoulder opener. It's also a wonderful hip opener. It's good for so many things. I'll always invite you to use child's pose if you need a break. And then come back up to tabletop. Planting your left hand down, spread your fingertips wide. Take your right hand, inhale up to the sky. And then you're going to thread your right arm behind your left, bringing your right shoulder all the way to the mat and your right ear all the way to the mat. You can walk your left arm out in front of you to go a little deeper into the shoulder stretch. And then walk it back. And use your left hand to push you back up to tabletop. This time, plant in through your right hand. Spread your right fingertips wide so that you're not dumping into your wrist. Use your left hand to reach up to the sky. And then thread your left hand behind you, bringing your left ear to the mat, maybe walking that right arm forward. Very nice. Use your right hand to push you back up to tabletop. Let's just take a cat-cow here, maybe two, to neutralize the spine. Beautiful. Sink your hips back. And we're going to come to rock pose. If it's uncomfortable for you, you can always come to easy pose. But in rock pose, we're sitting over our ankles. Thighs are together. And start with our hands in prayer position. And we're going to reach them out and behind us. Now, if your shoulders are really tight, you might need a strap here or a towel to help you get this grip behind you. But if you can, interlace all 10 fingers and roll the shoulders out. And you should be able to close the space between your palms. If you can't, using a strap or a towel can really help with this. And then wherever you are, maybe start to lift your chest up, your gaze up slightly, but make sure you can keep your core engagement as you do so. And then bring it back. So let's try that again. First, engage the core, engage the pelvic floor, and then start to lift the chest up as your gaze goes up slightly. Just be mindful here. It can be a lot on the neck, so just go slowly and return. Now, keeping that bind, we're going to fold forward and really use our core muscles. So find that engagement first. Pulling the navel towards the spine and engaging the pelvic floor, almost like doing a Kegel. And then from here, start to lift your bound hands as you bring your forehead forward. And you can stop wherever you feel a nice stretch through the shoulders. What you don't want to do is just round your spine and, end up with your forehead on the mat. You want to keep a nice straight spine when doing this. Good. And then release. Come out of rock pose. And for this next series, you can use 2 blocks. They're really helpful, but you don't need the blocks if you don't have them. I might even use 4 blocks so that you can see it easier. And then you're going to plant your hands directly underneath your shoulders. Bend your knees and take your feet about hip distance apart. From here, we're going to lift up as if we're coming into the reverse tabletop, but we have the support of the blocks. So even if you lift here, that's perfectly fine. I'm going to lift up and then lower down. Lift up and lower down. Again, lift up and then lower down. Now we're going to add a pose to this, and this is a really tricky one, but it's a fantastic core strengthener, and it's really going to help with this focus of, strengthening the core for posture. Staying right how you are, we're going to lift up into that reverse tabletop, and then we're going to shift backwards, but we're not sinking our hips down, we're shifting them back. And release. Tough one. All right, let's try it again. Lift up into reverse tabletop, and then we're shifting back. So have a nice bend in the elbows and release down. Let's try it one more time. It's a tricky one to get, so if it's not happening, it's okay. Lift up, and then bend the elbows. Keep them tucked in towards the body. Shift the hips back, and then lower down. Whew. Beautiful. Scoot up towards the front of your mat. Reach your arms out, palms facing each other. And let's do a little bit more with the core. Point your right toe and start by lifting the right leg up and then setting it down. Point your left toe, lift it and lower it. Other side, right comes up and down and left. And you can just keep going back and forth here. Or if you've been with me for a while and you've been practicing with strengthening your core, you can work to switch in midair so that your both feet are suspended for a little bit. If all of this is too much, try taking your hands and grabbing the back of your thighs and doing one leg at a time. That just gives you a little bit more support until your muscles are used to this movement. Beautiful. And release. Bring your hands behind your thighs if they're not there already, and slowly lower all the way down. And release. Pull your knees in. Gently squeeze your knees towards your body. And then use your right hand to guide your knees across for a gentle twist. Your gaze is on your left side. And then come back to center. Squeeze your knees towards you. Give yourself a hug. And then guide them to the left. Your gaze is on the right. And then come back to center again. Squeeze your knees towards you. Take a deep inhale through your nose and exhale. Float your arms and legs to the mat. Come into a final savasana. Relax in this pose for just a few moments. Find quiet and stillness for a few moments. Maybe bringing your awareness to your body, noticing what you feel, whether you stirred up some energy or maybe got rid of some excess jitters. One thing I love about yoga is that it manages to calm you down and energize you at the same time. It gives you all the right kind of feelings. When you're ready, extend your arms above your head, roll into your side body, and make your way to a comfortable seated position, keeping your eyes lowered or closed. Let's close practice with one final breath. Inhale, reach your arms above you. And then exhale, hands to prayer and heart center. Take a moment here to find gratitude. Just take a quick moment to thank yourself for trying this, coming out, doing something good for your body and your mind. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you next time. Have a beautiful weekend. All right, everyone. See you. If you have any questions at all, don't ever hesitate to contact me. And I will see you next Wednesday for our next Yoga for Wellness series.